You don't hear about Serbia too much, do you? But lately it's showing up more and more. And there's a reason for that. Serbia isn't part of the EU and it's not part of NATO yet. And it's under constant pressure either way. Why? Well, because Serbia is one of the last sovereign nations in Europe that refuses to bow. They're not playing the West game and they're not fully aligning with the East either. So President Vucic walks a tightrope engaging the EU for economic leverage while maintaining long-standing relationships with Russia and China. And that's a problem, not for Serbia, but for the globalist bloc that wants total alignment or total isolation. Russia and China don't care if Serbia trades with the West, but the EU, they've made it clear, you're either with us or you're against us. Sound familiar? Well, that leaves Serbia in the crosshairs, caught between prosperity, dangled by Brussels, and punishment for daring to remain independent. And it's not just about money either. It's about culture. It's about identity. It's about control. But Serbians are proud, they're rooted, and they remember what happens when foreign powers dictate terms. Their capital was bombed, Belgrade, by NATO without a UN mandate, without EU consensus, without any real accountability. Thousands of Serbs died, not in some distant battlefield, but in their own cities, in their own homes, on their own soil. And the world just watched. That's why they don't forget. That's why they don't comply. That's why they resist. The EU dangles membership like a carrot, but every EU nation has paid for it with their sovereignty, haven't they? So when Serbia resists, they face smear campaigns, economic leverage, and political isolation. And still, they stand firm. Serbia today is a battleground for the soul of Europe. It's where East meets West, and neither side has full control. It's where the people still believe in the right to decide their future without Brussels or Washington pulling the strings. But here's the danger. Serbia isn't surrounded by allies. It's surrounded by nations that used to be part of Yugoslavia, many of whom still hold deep grudges. Croatia, Bosnia, Kosovo, even tension with Hungary flares over minority rights. These aren't friendly neighbors. They're pressure points, just waiting to be pressured by the outside forces. And now, with war escalating in Ukraine, with NATO creeping east and the EU arming itself under the guise of security, Serbia becomes something even more valuable. A tripwire, another one, a pawn in someone else's game of escalation. But here's what makes Serbia different. They see it coming. They've been through it before. And they're not going to be used again. So the question now is, will Serbia join the bloc of conservative nations like Hungary, Poland, and the others who want peace, sovereignty, and strength? Or will they be backed into a corner and forced to pick a side that was never theirs to begin with? You know, the West wants Serbia compliant, the East wants Serbia loyal, but Serbia wants to be free.